betrayal, inheritance, and explosive family secrets. Okay, buckle up because you are not going to believe this story. For as long as I can remember, I've been the black sheep in my family. You know how it's that feeling of always being on the outside, like you're speaking a different language. I'm Ella Thompson, and I was the eldest child of Margaret and Robert Thompson, to renowned doctors. From the moment my younger brothers, Jack and Oliver, arrived, I felt like I vanished into thin air. In the beginning, it was subtle stuff, like getting a smaller slice of cake or the hand-me-down toys. But as we grew older, the favoritism became blatant, almost cruel. Family vacations revolved entirely around what my brothers wanted. If Jack felt like hitting the slopes, we were skiing. No questions asked. My ideas were always met with blank stares or dismissive sighs. When I was 17 and facing college applications, I knew I had to forge my own path. I'd fallen head over heels for art restoration, spending hours at the local museum, mesmerized by the intricate work. But when I dared to mention studying art restoration in college, it was as if I had announced I was joining a cult. Art restoration? Ella, get real. My mom scoffed, barely looking up from her medical journal. That's not a proper job. Why don't you do something useful, like become a doctor? Even though they didn't support me, I was determined to make it happen. I busted my butt, aced my exams, and managed to snag a scholarship to study art restoration. I remember running into the kitchen, bursting with excitement. Mom, Dad, I got a scholarship. Mom barely glanced up from her reading. That's nice, honey. Did you hear? The boys got perfect scores on their SATs. I packed my second-hand laptop and thrift store clothes, and my parents were too busy to even give me a ride to the bus station. But there was one person who saw me, really saw me, for who I was. My grandma, Elizabeth. She showed up just as I was about to leave. Ella, sweetie, she said, pressing a small envelope into my hand. I'm so proud of you. Don't ever forget that. Inside was a check not enough to change my life, but enough to make things a little easier. But it was the fact that she noticed me that truly mattered. College was a roller coaster. On one hand, I was finally free from the constant comparisons to Jack and Oliver, the feeling of being in some twisted competition for attention. But on the other hand, money was incredibly tight. While they were enjoying fancy frat parties and spring break trips, I was scraping by on my scholarship and working endless part-time jobs. I threw myself into my studies. Art restoration became more than just a job. It was my sanctuary, a place where I could bring beauty back to life. It was about uncovering hidden potential beneath layers of neglect and damage. After graduating, I landed a job as an assistant at a small restoration studio. It wasn't fancy work, mostly cleaning and organizing, but I was over the moon. When I called home to share the news, I received a lukewarm response. Oh, that's nice. Did you hear about Jack's research paper? I sighed, trying to contain my disappointment. That's great. Listen, I was thinking of coming home for a weekend soon. Maybe we could. No, I'm not sure that's a good idea. She interrupted. Your father and I are going to be really busy. We're helping the boys with their research papers. You understand? As I hung up, a familiar pang of rejection washed over me. But this time, there was something else. Determination. Screw them, I muttered to my empty dorm room. I don't need their approval. But even as I said it, a part of me still craved their validation. Graduation day came and went with little fanfare. My big moment was marked by a quick dinner at a chain restaurant. So, Ella, what's next? My dad asked, his tone laced with skepticism. I sat up straight, trying to project confidence. I actually got a job offer in New York. My mom rolled her eyes. New York is expensive. How much does this job pay? I felt my face flush as I mumbled the unimpressive starting salary. The rest of the dinner was a blur of thinly veiled criticisms and comparison to Jack and Oliver's academic achievements. As we were leaving, Grandma Elizabeth squeezed my hand. Don't let them dim your light, my dear. Go to New York. Chase your dreams. Inside the envelope was another check. I hugged her tight, trying not to cry. The next few years were a whirlwind. I threw myself into my work, slowly making a name for myself in the art world. It was during this time that I met Noah. He was a struggling graphic designer with a kind smile and a burning passion for his work. After dating for a while, I decided it was time for him to meet my family. From the moment we sat down, the atmosphere was tense. So, Noah, my dad began, trying to sound casual, but failing miserably. What exactly are your long-term career prospects? Noah looked uncomfortable. Well, I'm building my client base. It takes time, but I'm making progress. My mom chimed in, her tone sharp. And your current income, is it enough to support a family? My face burned. Mom, that's not. It's okay, Ella, Noah said, squeezing my hand under the table. I'm not where I want to be money-wise yet, but I'm working hard to get there. The interrogation continued throughout dinner, each question digging deeper and deeper. As we were leaving, Mom pulled me aside. Honey, I know you think you cared for this boy, but you need to be realistic. You've already chosen a challenging career path. Don't make it worse by attaching yourself to someone with no real future. Mom, I hissed, my voice trembling with anger. Dad joined in. Your mother's right, Ella. You need to think about your future. This Noah seems nice enough, but is he really good enough for you? You could do so much better. I stood there, speechless, feeling a surge of protectiveness on Noah. How dare they judge him? How dare they dismiss my choices? Yet again, despite their disapproval, Noah and I continue to build our life together. Eventually, we decided to get married. As the wedding approached, I reached out to my parents, hoping for some support. Noah and I have set a date for the wedding. I said hesitantly during our weekly phone call. We're trying to keep costs down, but I was wondering if maybe you'd like to help out a little, even just with the planning. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Finally, Mom spoke, a voice cold and distant. Ella, you're an adult now. If you've chosen to marry this person, then you need to handle the consequences yourself. I hung up feeling like complete crap. Once again, Grandma Elizabeth came to the rescue. When I told her about the situation, she didn't hesitate to offer her help. My dear, she said, her voice warm over the phone, I may not be able to give you the wedding of your dreams, but I want to help make your day special. Her generosity made a huge difference. The wedding day arrived. The community center we rented was simple, but our small group of friends pitched in, helping with everything from the decorations to the homemade cake. For a moment, I forgot about everything else with money stress, my family's constant judgment. But that bubble burst as soon as I saw my family arrive. I overheard Mom muttering to Dad about the tacky decorations and cheap food. Jack and Oliver were even worse, snickering and making snide remarks. I tried to ignore them, focusing instead on our vows and the supportive faces of our friends. It wasn't until the next day that I realized just how cruel they could be. I woke up to a barrage of notifications on my phone. Jack and Oliver had gone on a social media rampage, posting a series of unflattering photos on the wedding. Congrats to our big sis on her special day. Read one caption under a blurry photo of Noah and me cutting our cake. Nothing says true love like a dollar store wedding. Another post showed a picture of the buffet table next to a photo of a fancy meal from some high-end restaurant. Ella's wedding versus our average Tuesday lunch. Guess which one is which? The comment section was a war zone. Some relatives were shocked at the brothers' behavior. This is completely unacceptable. You should be ashamed of yourselves. But others seemed to think it was hilarious. Savage, but true, commented our cousin Tim. I felt sick reading through the comments. But what really broke my heart was seeing my parents' responses. They were actually encouraging them. Writing is just a bit of harmless fun. I was beyond her. I was shattered. I didn't call them or demand an apology. I just decided to cut them off for a while. A few months later, we had a family reunion. Even though I dreaded it, I decided to go, hoping we could clear the air. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I managed to keep it together for the first hour, making polite conversation and avoiding my immediate family. But then I overheard Jack bragging about his latest fancy vacation, paid for by our parents. Of course, something inside me snapped. Must be nice, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The room went silent. Jack stared at me, his mouth agape. What's that supposed to mean? You know exactly what it means. I shot back, my voice trembling with rage. You and Oliver have been handed everything on a silver platter while I got nothing. Mom stepped forward, her face contorted with anger. Ella, you're being ridiculous. We've always treated you children equally. I let out a bitter laugh. Equally? Are you kidding me? Let's talk about equally. Private school tuition for the boys, public school for me. Brand new cars for their 16th birthdays, while I pieced together my first ride from spare parts. And let's not forget the crowning achievement, $300,000 each for their future investments while I'm still paying off student loans for a degree you didn't even approve of. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. All eyes were on our family's dirty laundry being aired in public. Mom's voice was ice cold when she spoke. If you're so obsessed with money, maybe you should have chosen a more lucrative career. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. It's not about the money, I retorted, tears welling up in my eyes. It's about the blatant favoritism, the constant feeling of being less than. Noah, who had been silently supporting me, stiffened beside me. How dare you? I hissed, my voice cracking. Noah is worth 10 of your precious sons. He actually loves me for who I am, not for what I can do for him. The reunion descended into total chaos. Everyone was shouting, throwing accusations, bringing up old grudges. Enough, a voice boomed above the din. Everyone turned to see Grandma Elizabeth standing up, her usually kind face stern and angry. Margaret, your cruelty towards your daughter is unforgivable. Jack, Oliver, I am thoroughly disappointed. Since I have ears, I cannot believe the things you've said and done to your sister. Mother, you don't understand. Ella has always been difficult, always causing problems. Mom retorted, her face flushed with anger. No, you don't understand. Grandma Elizabeth interrupted, her voice shaking with emotion. You are both incapable of seeing the damage you've done. I looked around the room at the shocked faces of my relatives, at my grandmother's resolute stance. In that moment, something inside me shifted. I was done. I was done trying to win their approval. Done trying to be a part of this toxic family. Noah and I are leaving, and don't bother trying to contact us, I announced, grabbing Noah's hand. We walked out, leaving the chaos behind. The months that followed were tough, but Noah was my rock. He helped me through the sadness and celebrated the small victories. Just when I thought things were starting to settle down, life threw another curveball. Noah had been working his off for weeks, putting everything he had into a pitch for this big-time client. When he answered the phone one sunny Tuesday morning, I could tell from the look on his face that something major had happened. We got it, he said, his voice barely a whisper. Ella, we got the contract. The next few months were a whirlwind. Suddenly, we weren't just scraping by, we were thriving. With this success, I saw a notification from my phone. Suddenly, my phone started blowing up with notifications, messages from distant relatives suddenly wanting to catch up, and then a call from my mother. Ella, sweetheart, my mother's voice came, sickly sweet. We've heard the wonderful news about Noah's business. We always knew you two would make it. The BS kept coming, thicker and faster. My father got on the line. We'd love to see you. Maybe we could all have dinner, celebrate your success as a family. I was disgusted. We haven't been a family for a long time, I replied icily. So now that we're successful, you want to be a part of our lives. I knew they were only interested in our newfound success. I stuck to my guns. I wouldn't let them back in. When my parents showed up at our door unannounced, I didn't let them in. When they sent fancy gifts, I donated them. Instead, Noah and I focused on building our life together, on creating a space filled with love and laughter. We worked hard, saved our money, and eventually, we were able to buy our own apartment right in the middle of the city. Excited to share our happiness, I posted a photo on social media, standing in front of our new home. New beginnings and old love, I wrote in the caption. Grateful for those who've been there through it all. New home, new family. This was my family now, Noah, my grandma, and the friends who had become my chosen family. Despite the odds, despite all the people who said we couldn't do it, we were thriving. I was busy in the kitchen, preparing our first real family dinner in our new place, when I heard a pounding on the door. Ella, open up. We know you're in there. My blood ran cold. I recognized those voices. Before I could react, the door burst open, and my brothers stormed in, their faces twisted with anger. I barely had time to see Noah jumping to his feet before Jack was in my face, screaming, "You manipulative little freak. This is low, even for you." I stumbled back, shocked by the venom in his voice. "What are you talking about?" All of us sneered. "Don't play dumb, Ella. We saw your little social media post, showing off your new apartment. Do you think we can't put Anta together? You think Grandma bought us this apartment, don't you? You've been playing the poor, neglected child for years, and now you've manipulated her into making you the sole heir." I felt a surge of anger, straightening my spine. "You have no idea what you're talking about. Noah and I bought this apartment with our own money." Oliver laughed derisively. "Right, sure you did. Where's the old bat? Anyway, hiding her away so we can't talk sense into her." Then he said the unthinkable, his voice dripping with malice. "That crazy old woman should be in a cemetery by now. I can't wait for her to kick the bucket so I can sell her house and live it up." The room fell silent. For a moment, I thought I might have imagined those horrific words. Then, a quiet voice spoke from the doorway of the guest room. "So, this is how you truly feel about me." All heads turned to see Grandma Elizabeth standing there, her face a mask of shock and disappointment. Their grandmother had heard every word. "Grandma," Jack started, his voice faltering. Elizabeth held up a hand, stopping him. "I've heard enough," she said, her voice trembling. "I finally understand who truly values me and who sees me as nothing more than a meal ticket." I found my voice strengthened by my grandmother's presence. "I think you both need to leave." For a moment, it looked like they might argue, but one look at Grandma's face, a mixture of hurt and resolve, and they slunk towards the door, muttering weak excuses. After they left, a fallout was immediate. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing, constantly reminding me of the mess that had blown up. My mom's name popped up on the screen. Against my better judgment, I picked up Ella. Her voice was sharp, not sounding like a mother at all. "You need to fix this. Your grandmother is furious with the boys. You need to smooth things over. Tell her it was all a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" I exclaimed, my voice rising in disbelief. "They broke into my home and said they couldn't wait for her to die so they could sell our house. How exactly is that a misunderstanding? You know how the boys can be," she said dismissively. "They were just upset." "Upset about what?" I challenged her. "That Noah and I bought an apartment with our own money. That Grandma loves me." Mom's voice turned sickly sweet. "Sweetheart, you need to think about what's best for the family. Your brothers deserve that inheritance. Don't be selfish." Something inside me snapped. Years of pent-up frustration and how it came pouring out. "Selfish? You're calling me selfish after years of favoritism, of dismissing my achievements, and now you have the audacity to demand I give up an inheritance I never even asked for." "Now, Ella," Dad started, But I cut him off. I'm done. I'm done with the manipulation, the guilt trips, the constant feeling that I'm never good enough. Don't call me again. Don't text. Don't show up at my door. With that, I hung up, finally severing the ties that had bound me to my toxic family for so long. The next few days were difficult, filled with tears and anger, but it was necessary for healing to begin. As the dust settled, I found myself surrounded by a different kind of warmth of genuine love and support. Grandma Elizabeth, now fully aware of the family dynamics she had long suspected, made a conscious effort to spend more time with me and Noah. Aunt Sarah, who had reached out after the wedding fiasco, became a confidant and friend. I always knew you were special, Ella, she said, hugging me tight. I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you sooner. Other relative cousins, aunts, and uncles who had witnessed the unfair treatment over the years reached out with messages of support. It was as if a veil had been lifted, allowing genuine relationships to flourish where there had once been only obligation. Noah and I threw ourselves into making our new apartment a home. Each piece of furniture, each photo on the wall was a testament to our hard work and our unwavering love. And slowly, but surely, we built a life filled with joy, laughter, and the unwavering support of the people who truly mattered. So, Reddit, after hearing everything, I have to ask, did I handle this whole messed up situation the right way? Was I wrong to cut my family off? Should I have tried harder to salvage the relationship, even after all the pain they caused? I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts and opinions.